Hi everyone, this is your online tutorial for writing essays at school. You're going to be writing an essay very shortly, which is going to be due in week 7. Many of you have never written an essay before, so this is going to be very important. Some of you would have written essays before, so this is just going to be a little bit more help and guidance for you. We are going to be writing the essay in class, and I'm going to be giving you lots of class time to do that. But until then, I want you to spend your time listening to this tutorial so that you know exactly what is going on with this essay. Okay? I hope you manage to understand everything in here really well. So, what is an essay? Okay, you're going to write lots of essays between now and finishing high school. And you need to actually understand what an essay is. So, an essay is a formal piece of writing that you will write on many topics and in many subjects while you're at school. It can be analytical, which means that you pull a topic apart and you work out the understanding of something. It can be opinionative, which means that you're asked to give your actual opinion on something, or it can be persuasive, where you have to try and convince the reader that your view is the best view. Okay, an essay is the best way for you to present your ideas on a topic because you get to do it logically, you do it systematically, you follow a particular order, it makes sense, all your points line up, and you come across looking like you actually know what you're talking about. So we're going to have a little bit of a look now at the actual mechanics of an essay. So why do we write essays? We write essays at MCC because it's the most formal and organised way for you to present your ideas. You need to remember teachers and people who mark your work and people who read your work get given hundreds of pieces of work. And in order for us to mark them and weigh them up against each other, they need to be on the same level. You need to be writing in the same way as everybody else in the class. So it's very hard for us to award marks to someone who writes in a report style as against someone who writes in an essay style. You need to be writing the same. Essays follow a particular structure. They're actually quite strict, okay, which means that you have to show that your ability to follow the structure. Half of your marks, pretty much, come from your ability to follow the essay structure. And the other reason why we write essays at MCC is because it's good practice for ATAR. Okay, if you're going to sit your ATAR exams in year 11 and 12 and you want to go on to university, you're going to spend a lot of time writing essays. So the idea is if that's where your goals are, you are best to hone those skills now while you're in year 8 and 9, and you will be set for year 11 and 12. So you might be wondering, well, okay, this is what I've got to do, but how do I actually do it? At MCC, we've made it quite simple for you with writing your essays. We have a structure called TEAL, okay, TEEAL, and it's a little acronym. It's a little acronym for how the body paragraphs are structured, and I'll talk about that in a little while. The first thing you need to know is that a basic essay at MCC following TEAL has 5 paragraphs. Okay, the first one is your introduction, and then you have 3 body paragraphs and a conclusion. So that makes up 5 paragraphs. So before you can actually even start writing your essay, you need to understand that what the question is actually asking you. Essays very usually are concerned with questions. The marker or your teacher will set you a particular question for you to answer. You have to answer the question as well as you can. The idea of the essay is to show that you can actually answer the question that's being asked of you. So, like I said before, most essays will ask you to either show your opinion, they want you to compare things, to show what you've learned or you've discovered, or to analyse the worth of something, or just purely to convince the reader on a particular topic. But all essay questions, or all good essay questions, will have specific words in them that tell you exactly what you need to do. Okay, everything you need to know about how to write your essay and how to answer it is wrapped up in the question. One of the tricks is being able to find those particular words and working out what exactly you need to do. I'll show you how. So all essay questions will have three types of words in them. The first word you need to understand are the task words. Some people call these the instructional words. Okay, these are the words that tell you how to answer the question. Right? So it might say discuss. It might say compare and contrast. It might say analyse, or it might say explain. What it's wanting you to do is to carefully answer the question in the right way. So if you're being asked to discuss something, you're being asked to talk about it and show your understanding and how you came to your conclusion. If you're being asked to compare and contrast something, you're being asked, well, show me the differences and the similarities between two different things. If you're being asked to analyse something, we want you to break the topic down and to look at it. And if you're being asked to explain something, and you can see there I've left a little bit off my slide, sorry about that, you're being asked to show how and why something happens, okay? So for instance, if I said explain why we go to school, you will say we go to school because we need to learn, we need to develop and to be able to be people who are part of our society. Okay, so the other types of words that are in essay questions are these things called limiting words. And limiting words are just that, they limit you. Okay, they put a restriction on how far you can actually go when you're answering your question. The essay marker wants to know what you know about a particular topic within a particular range. It's a little bit like a soccer field, okay? If we didn't have the lines on the outside of the pitch, you would just keep on kicking the ball forever. We need to put the lines around the essay question, not literally, metaphorically speaking, so that you don't waffle on and you don't start going off on different tangents and talking about different things. Okay? We want to know your answer within a particular set of guidelines. We don't want you going on forever and ever and ever. Okay, so they're limiting words. They tell you how far you can go and where you should be focusing your attention. Okay, that's the key. All right, so we know our task words, so we know how to answer the question. We know our limiting words, okay, we know what boundaries we're within. Now we need to know our content words. Content words are exactly that. What is in this essay? Think of it like a book. If you open up a particular book, a resource, a reference book, and you open it up and the first page is a contents page. That contents page tells you exactly what you're going to find inside the book. That's what content words are for essays. They tell you exactly what your essay should be about. Okay, they usually involve a topic or an idea, and in English, they usually ask you to write about an idea within a text. All right, so let's have a bit of a practice here. Let's have an example and see if we can understand the essay question. All right, we're talking about outdoor media at the moment, outdoor advertising, I should call it, in English, and we've been checking out all those cool billboards and bus stops and all those different things. Okay, so let's have a little practice. This is not your essay question that you're going to be writing. Okay, this is a practice one that I've written to show you how to do this. It's very similar though. Here we go. Here's my pretend essay question. Discuss how companies use advertising to control what teenagers buy. Okay, that is my practice essay question. Let's see if we can break it down into our 3 different words. All right, I've highlighted here for you in red, task words, in blue, content words, and in green, limiting words. So our question was discuss how companies use advertising to control what teenagers buy. So you can see there that our task word is the red word, discuss. Okay, so you're going to talk about this. I want you to talk about how how you've come to this idea. All right, your content words are companies and control what teenagers buy. That's what this is about. It's about how companies control what teenagers buy. Your limiting words are use advertising techniques. Okay, so all I want to know is how do companies use advertising techniques in order to get teenagers to buy things. All right, so we know what our essay question is asking us, but we can't just get started. We can't just start writing, okay? If you do just start writing, your essay will not be very good. It won't be organised, it won't be systematic, it won't be well thought out and researched. The first thing you need to do before you even begin to think about essay structure is you need to brainstorm. Okay, so like I've said here, if this is a take-home assignment, which it is, you're going to have time to research and to formulate your essay. All right, you're going to have time to neaten it up, make it all nice and pretty, find some nice evidence and some examples. And if it was under a test conditions, okay, if you were writing this frantically in an hour in school, you're then going to have to rely on what you know already, okay, with your existing knowledge. But whatever you do, whatever your essay, you need to plan. Even if you're doing an essay in a test, you will be given room to plan. Okay, you have 5 minutes or so to get your brains together, to get your ideas together, and to put your ideas down on paper so that you can formulate a plan. But you're going to have weeks to do this. 2 weeks you're going to have to do this. And you're going to do your planning in class, and I'll help you quite a lot with that. Okay, so when you're planning your essay, you need to keep in the back of your mind that you're going to be writing a 5-paragraph essay, okay, with an introduction, 3 body paragraphs, and a conclusion. One of the things that is good to keep in the back of your mind is the clue to how many ideas you need is the number of body paragraphs you have. So if there's 3 body paragraphs, you need 3 ideas. Okay, this essay that you're going to be writing is a 5-paragraph essay. 1 paragraph is your intro, 1 paragraph is your conclusion, so that leaves 3 body paragraphs. You need to have 3 main ideas that you're going to talk about, and for every paragraph that you have, you only talk about 1 idea, okay? You don't bring up different ideas, different topics within 1 paragraph. You write about 1 idea in 1 paragraph. That way your reader knows exactly what you're talking about. He doesn't get off task, he doesn't get off track and think, oh, hang on a minute, he was just talking about that, and now, gosh, I can't keep up with him, he's all over the shop. Okay, you need to keep your ideas to your paragraphs. 1 idea, 1 paragraph. Okay. So here's an essay map that I've set out for you. Okay, we're going to do this in class. This is basically a brainstorm. You know how to do these. We've done them in class a lot. In the circle, you can see our the main idea that we're going to be talking about here. Okay, so I'm saying that the main idea here is that teenagers are unaware of the influence of marketing. Marketing is advertising. And there's my 3 ideas. My first one's about celebrities. My second one at the top is about kids wanting to stay up with what's cool. And my third one is about deliberate product placement in TV shows. All right, so we've got our 3 ideas from our essay map that we did, and now I'm going to get started on my introduction. So your introduction is the first paragraph in your essay, and it does exactly what its name says it does. It introduces your reader to the content of this essay. Okay, it pretty much breaks the ice with the reader and it allows them to know exactly what the purpose of your essay is and what it is that you're going to be talking about. The essay introduction is also going to outline the ideas that you're going to cover in the main paragraphs in the body of your essay. Okay, so those things that you brainstormed. And in our case, the 3 things that I came up with was celebrity endorsements, that teenagers succumb a lot of the time to the pressure to feel cool, to look cool, or they want to have what's cool. Okay, this idea of cool. And my third idea was about deliberate product placement in TV shows. That, you know, on Home and Away, they might be drinking a can of Coke or pouring cornflakes into their bowl. All those little subliminal messages that help push teenagers into buying particular products. Okay, so that's what I'm going to talk about in my introduction. But the introductions follow a really specific series of sentences, and I'm going to show you what those sentences are now. Alright, so introduction structure follows this particular pattern. Okay, you start off with a global sentence or a global statement. I'm going to talk about these as we go through, but these are the sentences. So your first one's a global sentence or a statement. Your second one is your thesis statement. Then you carry on with developing sentences, and finally a concluding sentence. I'm going to go over all of these and give you examples right now. Alright, so your global statement or the global sentence, that's your first sentence that you start your whole essay off with. We call it global because it's really big, it's broad, and it covers everything. Okay, we're not, at the moment when we're starting our essay, we don't want the little nitty gritties. We want you to talk about it in a real general way. It's a way for you just to capture your reader's interest, get them on your side and get them to see roughly what you're going to be talking about. You can do this in a few ways. It can be a statement, okay, a very clear, direct statement where you might say, companies are making it very hard for teenagers to think for themselves. That's a statement, okay? It could be a quote from a text. You might have some statistics or something. 57% of teenagers say that they are pressured into buying things because of marketing. All right? You might have a saying that is really common in society, or even maybe a question. The best questions are rhetorical questions. And rhetorical questions are those questions that don't actually really need an answer. They just make the reader think. So I've got a couple of sentences here, and we're going to choose between these in a minute. So here's my first one. It's a question, and I'm asking my reader, have you ever stopped to wonder if teenagers today are really in control of the purchases they make, or are they just victims of brand marketing? Okay, so that question is not really asking them for an answer. I just want them to think about it. Or I could make a statement. Teenagers today are flooded with many choices and influences when they are making purchases. Okay, I'm not asking for anyone's opinion here. I'm just saying that's what it is. I'm very direct, I'm clear, And we're going to choose between one of these global statements in a minute, okay? All right, so we just talk about our global statement. Now we're on to our second sentence of our introduction, called our thesis statement. This is the most important sentence that you actually write in the whole essay. So it's really important that you get this right. This thesis statement is the absolute guts of your essay. It is what the whole essay revolves around. All right, so this is your argument, this is your belief, and it is everything that your essay is going to back up. Okay, so all the points that you raise from now on in are going to defend this sentence. So make sure it's strong, make sure it's clear, and make sure it is defendable. Okay, so my personal opinion on this whole topic is that I reckon that teenagers are controlled by the products that companies make and the marketing that they have, and I think that you guys then go out and feel like you have to have it. Okay, all of a sudden, wow, I need to have that thing. Okay, so here's my thesis statement on this topic. Teenagers today are unknowingly controlled by the marketing of big companies to purchase the items they produce, which reinforces the popularity of items. So what I'm saying there is that you guys don't even know this is happening to you. Okay, they're doing it, you then go out and buy it, and then by you buying it, it just makes the product more popular, and then everyone else needs to buy it. Okay, so that's my thesis statement. All right, so you're going to develop your thesis statement a little bit here. You're building on it, okay? You're making it a little bit bigger. So back in your planning, you decided what points you were going to discuss, and I talked about them before. So this is where I'm going to briefly mention the things that I'm going to talk about in my essay. Okay, so but only very briefly. I'm just going to hint at them for the reader because I want to save all the juicy bits for the essay. So here you go. This is my developing sentences. It's not compulsory that you have two. I've got two. You can do one. Two is better as long as it's clear. As typical teenagers always want to stay current with what is cool, big companies have taken advantage of their vulnerable nature when it comes to making purchases. Through the use of endorsements by celebrities, product placement in television and film, and media hype, teenagers are forced unknowingly into maintaining the popularity of products. So you can see there that I've told the reader what they can expect. Back in my planning stages, I said endorsements of celebrities. I talked about product placement, and I also talked about this whole media hype of how kids think things are cool. Okay, so I've just very briefly told my reader what they can expect. Okay. Alright, so now it's time to wrap up our conclusion. We've finished introducing our topic and we really want to get stuck into the nitty-gritties of our essay. So this sentence needs to reinforce your idea, which is your thesis. Okay, remember that word? And it's going to flow nicely into the first body paragraph. So it needs to show what you think, your personal response. Okay, so here's an example. It makes sense then to understand that teenagers' wants and needs are controlled by the marketing of big companies. So let's read our introduction as one. So here's our completed introduction. Have you ever stopped to wonder if teenagers today are really in control of the purchases they make, or are they just victims of brand marketing? Teenagers today are unknowingly controlled by the marketing of big companies to purchase the items they produce, which reinforces the popularity of items. As typical teenagers always want to stay current with what is cool, big companies have taken advantage of their vulnerable nature when it comes to making purchases. Through the use of endorsements by celebrities, product placement in television and film, and media hype, teenagers are forced unknowingly into maintaining the popularity of products. It makes sense then to understand that teenagers' wants and needs are controlled by the marketing of big companies. Alright, so we said that our essay structure has to be teal, and this applies to the body paragraphs. Okay, teal is how you write your body paragraphs. And it's a little acronym. T stands for topic, E stands for explain, E stands for evidence, A stands for analyse, and L stands for link. These are the names of the sentences that make up the paragraphs in your body. Alright, so we're going to go through these in some detail now, and we're going to break them down and see what each one is actually asking you to do. Alright, so this is your topic sentence, and your topic sentence is your main lead-in sentence for your paragraph. It needs to talk about what your paragraph is going to be about. It sets your reader up so they know exactly what you're going to be explaining, but it also needs to be thematic and not clunky. Okay, we don't want a paragraph that starts off, in this paragraph I will be writing about this. No, that's not what we're looking for. Okay, we want thematic sentences. I'm going to tell you what a thematic sentence is now. So your topic sentence is, like I said, your main sentence. So let's say I'm writing my paragraph 1 for this example essay that I've been talking about. And my introduction has already told me which paragraph will come first. Okay, back in my developing sentences, I said, through the use of endorsements by celebrities, product placement, blah, blah, blah. That first example that I've used, the use of endorsements by celebrities, that's what my first paragraph is going to be about. So I know exactly what to write my topic sentence on. So for example, here's a topic sentence I could use for this, this essay that I'm writing here. For many teenagers, celebrities are people who they admire and look up to, so it makes sense that big companies would use them when promoting their products. Okay, so we know that my paragraph is about celebrity endorsements, but I don't want to be so to the point. I don't want to shove it in the reader's face. You know, I don't want to hold them down and say, right, this paragraph's about celebrity endorsements and you will read it. Okay, I want them to be a little bit more gentle, but I want them to try and work things out for themselves as well without sort of having to jam it down their throat. So by me saying, I've dropped a few key words there, celebrities. Okay, I've dropped that word. I've also dropped the teenager word as well, and I've also talked about buying products. So I've led my reader gently into my topic rather than being so in your face. So E stands for explain, and this is where you need to talk a little bit about what you mentioned in your topic sentence. So I alluded to the fact that celebrities were people that they look up to, and if they say a product is good, then teenagers are going to think they're good. So here's an example of my explanation sentence. When celebrities endorse products, teenagers are led to believe that the product is good and therefore something that they must have. Okay, I've explained myself a little bit more clear. You know really well now what my paragraph is talking about. So the next E stands for evidence, okay, or example, and you need to use evidence or examples in your essay because basically you are not an authority on this topic. Okay, you're not a psychologist, you're not a professor, you're not an expert, but you are a teenager. Okay, and this essay is about teenagers and how they feel, so it gives you a really good insight into the topic. But to make your opinion really count and to make it really gutsy, you need to back it up. Okay, you need to have some evidence to say, well, this is my opinion, and bam, this is what someone else says as well. So there you go. I do know what I'm talking about. Okay, so here's an example, and I just found this on the internet from a place called Fuse Marketing, and this is what they say. Fuse marketing claims, when teenagers embrace a product endorsed by a celebrity, it is because they relate to them, aspire to be them, and or see them as credible and reliable sources. So basically they're saying, if you like the celebrity and he likes the product, chances are you're going to like it too. So after you've got your evidence and you've put it in your essay, you need to analyse it. So that's what our A stands for, is analysis. You need to analyse your evidence and say how your evidence is good, basically. You need to say, this piece of evidence backs up my claims because it says this. All right, so it's a way of justifying the worth of your evidence. So here's my analysis, and this can take 2 sentences. In my example here, I have used 2 sentences. 1 is a minimum, but 2 can give a really good thorough analysis. Here we go. This is why big companies carefully select the celebrity who will be the best advocate for their company and who can relate to teenagers. If the celebrity can relate to the teenager, then the teenager is more inclined to want to purchase the product. Okay, so I've said why my evidence is good. Now I need to do the last bit in my paragraph. I need to link the paragraph back to the essay question. So this is the last sentence. This sentence is going to wrap up my paragraph. It's going to prove my point, and I'm going to feel like you've finished, okay, like you've completed your paragraph. I'm going to feel like, yeah, good job, done. You've covered that. Now let's see what you've got coming up. So it needs to link back to our essay question, and our essay question is how how companies use advertising techniques in order to get teenagers to buy things. So here's my linking sentence based on my paragraph about celebrities. Celebrity endorsements are influencing the purchases teenagers make because teenagers admire the celebrity and therefore want to align themselves with similar things. Sorry about the little typo there. Alright, so here's our body paragraph in full. Let's read it. For many teenagers, celebrities are people who they admire and look up to, so it makes sense that big companies would use them when promoting their products. When celebrities endorse products, teenagers are led to believe that the product is good and therefore something that they must have. Fuse marketing claims, when teens embrace a product endorsed by a celebrity, it is because they relate to them, aspire to be them, and or see them as a credible and reliable source. This is why big companies carefully select the celebrity who will be the best advocate for their company and who can relate to teenagers. If the celebrity can relate to the teenager, then the teenager is more inclined to want to purchase the product. Celebrity endorsements are influencing the purchases teenagers make because teenagers admire the celebrity and therefore want to align themselves with similar things. So now I want to teach you how to write your conclusion. We've looked at an introduction and a body paragraph, okay, and now let's have a look at how we would conclude our essay. So your conclusion is the last paragraph in your essay, and it's the closing of your essay. You're bringing it all to an end. So you need to sum up the points you made, and you need to remind the reader of your thesis, which was your argument, okay, your main idea. And a paragraph includes 4 good sentences. First one, a topic sentence, then an expanding sentence, an explanation sentence, and a concluding sentence. You can see there for expanding and explanation, I've put an S on the end. That's because sometimes you might need 2 sentences, and that's perfectly okay. Minimum of 4. So just like any other body paragraph, you need to have a topic sentence for your conclusion, okay? And it needs to summarise the main response to the essay question. And you give a quick summary of the paragraph. It's short, it's sweet, and to the point. So here we go. Here's my topic sentence for my conclusion. As teenagers become consumers in an adult world, they are faced with the confusing task of making good decisions while trying to keep up with the current trends. Okay, I've concluded my paragraph there. I've wrapped my main idea up into a nutshell. So now I'm going to expand on my topic sentence. Okay, this is where I'm going to summarise my 3 points. that I spoke about in my body paragraph. So you can see it's a little bit similar to the introduction, how I did this in the introduction. So let's have a look, and please, I apologise for the formatting there with the picture covering the words. This is only made more difficult as they are faced with the barrage of celebrity endorsements, strategically placed product placement in film and television, and the constant media hype. These influences make it hard for teenagers to make rational purchases based on their individual needs and wants. So I've gone back and I've talked very briefly about what I said in my main part of my essay. Okay, so we've expanded our topic sentence. We talked about our 3 main points. Now we're just going to explain a little bit, and this is where you can give your personal response. Okay, now you're a teenager, you've got a really good idea on this stuff. This is happening to you. So here we go. Now I'm pretending to be a teenager here. Example, as a teenager myself, I'm constantly faced with the strategies of big companies to influence my choices when making a purchase. Easy. Okay, so now this is it. You've come to the end of your essay and you just need to write your last sentence. This is where you leave a bit of a final thought for your reader, something for them to take away with them. I don't want you to introduce any new content here. You do not, in your conclusion, bring up anything new. You're just recapping what you've stated already. But I want you to leave your reader with something to take away, a little lasting thought, something to make them think, yeah, she makes sense. So here we go. This is mine. It is a worrying thought to think what the next generation of teenagers will be faced with as big companies constantly improve their products and their marketing strategies. Okay, so I've left my reader thinking, yeah, wow, she's right. Imagine what teenagers are going to have to do in the future. Wow, that's scary. Okay, that's what I want them to think. All right, so now I'm going to read my conclusion as one. As teenagers become consumers in an adult world, they are faced with the confusing task of making good decisions while trying to keep up with the current trends. This is only made more difficult as they are faced with the barrage of celebrity endorsements, strategically placed product placements in film and television, and the constant media hype. These influences make it hard for teenagers to make rational purchases based on their individual needs and wants. As a teenager myself, I am constantly faced with the strategies of big companies to influence my choices when making a purchase. It is a worrying thought to think what the next generation of teenagers will be faced with as companies constantly improve their products and their marketing strategies. So now you just need to type up your final copy, okay? And there are some rules about how to type up your essays. You need to type them in 12-point font, Arial or Times New Roman, because that's the easiest for me to read. You need to double space the lines between your work. I'll show you in class how to do that. You need to align your work to the left, okay? Don't center your work on the page or justify it. It needs to be to the left. I don't want any pictures or any borders, okay? This is formal writing now. And you need to number your pages, okay? They are my rules. Good luck, guys, and I will see you in class tomorrow. Bye.